Andrew, Brandon writes to us with this question. I've had my logo for a number of years. Does it make sense for me to change it now?
It's interesting that you ask that question because we had that same question come up very recently at a seminar that we did. Someone in the audience asked, he said that he'd been using his logo for a number of years and wouldn't it be a waste of money to change it at this point? And I said to him the same thing that I'll suggest to you and everyone, Brandon, and that is it always makes sense to change any of your tactics as long as those changes bring your tactics more in alignment with your strategy, as long as they help to communicate whatever your brand strategy happens to be. Let me give you an example. I was working with a company that for a number of years had had a logo that was peaceful and tranquil. The colors on their website, everything really communicated a very peaceful kind of a feeling about the company. But when we began consulting with them, we determined that the brand strategy that they should follow was based on the concept of speed. They had technologies and systems in place that really made them a leader when it came to speed. And so, of course, a tranquil logo and peaceful colors weren't really appropriate. Dynamic, powerful colors and a more hard-hitting logo made a lot more sense.
Good.
Let me give you another example. There's a coffee house in my neighborhood where I go every morning for my cup of Java, and they seem to have stumbled across a strategy that makes a lot of sense. I asked them about this, and they said it wasn't planned. What they've been doing is putting patriotic symbols up inside of the coffee shop, a flag, pictures of famous people. The Constitution is on the wall. And they've really developed this feeling of sort of a conservative, patriotic place to have a cup of coffee, which is actually a very smart branding strategy. With that in mind, it makes a lot of sense for them now to go back and change their generic coffee cards to something that communicates this idea of that being the place to have a patriotic cup of coffee.
And you and I have had to make changes to our logo, our slogan, even our website.
That's right.
Because we thought those changes would bring it closer into our strategy.
That's right.
But how do our viewers know whether or not such a change is appropriate?
Well, that leads to our action step. Hopefully by now you've been watching enough 5 for 5s that you're beginning to get a feeling for what your brand strategy should be, whether it's based on some of the things we've talked about like the 3 S's, superlative, specialization, story.
Or even Monster on the Mountain.
Yeah, Monster on the Mountain, any of those. You're beginning to develop a brand strategy for your own business that differentiates you from the competition. With that in mind, here's your action step. Choose one element of your marketing, such as your logo or your slogan, and determine if it needs to be changed to better communicate the strategy that you're developing.
So, Brandon, the answer is change is good.
Yes, in this case, change is good, especially if it's based on a strategy that helps communicate how you're different from the competition. So, check your program notes to help you work on that this week. We'll see you next week. I'm Andrew Sokol.
And I'm Mike Krieger.
Take care.
Bye-bye.